All right, guys, we're going to try to get into some kettlebell stuff over the next couple of weeks. And one of the things that I've noticed is that we have so many new people, whether it's coaches or whether it's new athletes, so I really am not sure that they know what we're looking for with the kettlebell. I haven't been putting them in warm-ups. We used to use them in warm-ups a lot. I think they can be really effective. And that's kind of the direction. That's sort of what's prompting me to do this is like, let's get some kettlebell work in. It's hard, it'll be challenging for the workouts, but it can also let us actually use them as tools for the warm-ups. I think an over-reliance on the kettlebell, I'm just gonna make a quick note here, an over-reliance on the kettlebell in the warm-up is a problem in the same way that doing too many activations is a problem. Generally what we're looking for is the full movement displayed. And if you do a lot of kettlebell work and you're doing cleans or something, it can be really effective for warming people up in that little 5-minute AMRAP or your 3 rounds or whatever it is, but then you do need to get quickly into the movement itself. So just, I don't want to use this as a way to like assume understanding of the power clean or the snatch if someone can do this. They probably have a good understanding of it, maybe physically have the tools, but it's not the same movement. With the kettlebells, what I want you guys to work on tomorrow, if you're coaching tomorrow, this is all about tomorrow, and it will be over the next couple of weeks, is to figure out how to get people to start the kettlebell correctly and then have the finished position look the right way every time. And what most people, because we don't have a ton of folks who haven't done CrossFit a long time. A lot of people who've been doing CrossFit a long time will get to a position at the top that looks a little bit like this. Their hips are through, the knees are at some level of bent, whether it's like this bent or this bent. Really doesn't matter, but what we're trying to do is make sure that the legs actually straighten out in the drive. And there's a very obvious difference between this knee and this knee, where the glutes are still engaged, but we haven't actually fired everything. So what I want you guys to make sure is that we're really cueing the finished position as well as the load position. Your finished position on the bottom half should be knees locked out, hips through, everything stacked, and then the elbows should be roughly, I don't know how long this is off, but a hand should be able to pass between the chest and the elbow. So that could be out here a little bit, that could be right here. There's not necessarily gonna be like an exact place. What we don't want is this. What we don't want is this. Anything that involves the elbows directly on you, okay? Elbows should be slightly off. There should be a rotation in the shoulders that looks like this. We're looking for not this. Okay, this is not it. This is not it. This is it. Okay, so just like you would do a deadlift, you have external rotation on the shoulders. So we're here, okay? That internal rotation, and this is sort of what we should talk about as on the load position, that changes. But the external rotation at the top is this. Just like you would have, you know, on a lot of your finishes, right? On the snatch or the clean. So let's go over the start position. The start position, you guys will cue people to have the kettlebell a foot away from them. They'll be 1 foot. They're going to be roughly their squat position. Everyone's a little bit different. You want the thumb knuckle to be in the crotch. What we're trying to avoid, and I'll kind of show this way, what we're trying to avoid is this, okay? That shouldn't happen. The load should not occur where the hands are not connected to the body. There's going to be some natural separation. That's fine, but there's a very big difference between a natural separation and then someone who's just basically squatting into their load position. Okay, so we're here. We're going to work on hiking the kettlebell back. All right, I would have them tip the kettlebell. The bottom is facing out. This is our start position right here. Everyone has a different level of hamstring flexibility. Let's not worry about that too much. Okay, but we'll get to their position, they'll load, and then they're gonna finish into that position we talked about, okay? And in their load, there'll be this this internal rotation that you would see in the snatch. Internal rotation into that external rotation at the top, okay? Snatch at the top, internal rotation of the shoulders, or sorry, external rotation of the shoulders at the top, okay? So again, if I'm here, all right, that's what our load should look like through. Okay, now what we don't want is someone collapsing too far. What we don't want is arms bent through the load. You want the arms to straighten out in the load position. Okay, there's going to be some folks who like hear it and they're like, oh yeah, this is my finished position and I'm just going to hold this. And it's probably not going to hurt them because if they're doing that, it's probably too light anyhow. But if it was heavy, that could definitely cause some injury. in addition to the fact that it's like they clearly misunderstand all of these load mechanics, okay? So the other piece is that unless I've got someone brand new or someone who I know is very timid, I'm not gonna allow anyone in my classes to use a blue, a pink, or a gray. Those are too light. I think unless it's someone who's, again, brand new or super timid, like very noticeably timid, those are not the right weights. This is probably a great starting dude weight. 35s are a great starting lady weight. 40 or 44 is great. Anything less than that usually is gonna, like, you're gonna have trouble actually coaching. It's too light. They can move it around like this as much as they want. So it's really important that we coach that correctly. Now, as the kettlebell's loading back down, okay, you have to cue them to have a fairly relaxed grip on the kettlebell. So as they're loading down, if they're super tense, right, it is going to be hard for them to relax those arms. The hands should be relaxed. They should be following that kettlebell back down to their load with straight arms and then exploding everything back up to here, right? And so figuring this out correctly usually means that they can do the clean and the snatch well, okay? Usually, because it means they understand the leg drive and then the relaxation through either the clean position or the snatch position, okay? The other things that I've seen in the past that are really problematic, and I think you guys will all see this, but is if someone's maybe has a good finish position, but their load is like this, and it's more of a squat, we're trying to get them into sort of like what would be a hang position, okay? So this is roughly their snatch position, their clean position in the hang. That's roughly what we're trying to get to. It's not a lot different than that. Everyone's built differently. It may not look exactly like mine, but it should be pretty close, okay? I'm trying to think of the other things that are usually really big problems with this movement. All right, just come up with a few other things. So the other thing that happens with a lot of people who are misutilizing the muscle groups is that they'll be driving through their toes. And the heel should remain down in the load and the drive phase of the kettlebell. You should never be in your toes. I could see if there was a CrossFit workout where you had an exceptionally heavy weight and you were trying really hard and the rest of the things had broken down and you were sort of in like, I just got to get this done mode, then maybe you'd be getting here. I could see that in a competition. I don't think that's really appropriate for like really any of our classes. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So they're going to want to drive through the heel the entire time. Okay? So let's say that this was, an 88-pound kettlebell. I'm going to make sure that I'm not going into my toes on the drive phase. I'm going to make sure my heels stay down the entire time. Okay? And I don't know if you can see necessarily, but like my fingertips are on the kettlebell. I'm not grabbing too hard the entire time.